All right. So first of all, let's go into the chart. So what you see here is our indicator on TradingView. It's important to note that the levels now are auto-updating, meaning that every morning when you open up the indicator, we auto-update the levels in the code. Important to understand that TradingView does not have an API, so you need to remove and re-add the indicator every day, but the levels are automatically there. So what we see here is we have our end of day indicator for SPX, which again, very, very important reaction area. We had our core resistance, but what happens if we add our intraday? So now we are looking at our intraday indicator, and as you can see, the price dropped all the way down, stopped at the HVL, put support 0 Ds coming from our intraday model, and then kind of reversed. We can actually look at the same thing on QQQ. So we have our end of day indicators here. So on the left side, we have our end of day, and on the right side in white, we have our intraday. So what we can see again, very, very important, this was the barrier for today on QQQ, right? We touched the put support and HVL 0 Ds. This is coming from our intraday snapshot at 10:30. So again, I probably should refresh that as well. But at that time, this was very, very important ceiling. So now let's go into what happens if I trade futures. What can I do with that? Okay, so if you come into the indicator, there's different settings, and we are not going to go on all of them. But again, very, very important, we have our conversion here. So I could actually convert levels from any asset to any asset. So I could convert, again, NVIDIA to NQ. I could convert Amazon to NQ. But what I'm doing now is I'm converting QQQ to NQ. This is using our intraday data, but let's first go on NQ. So the first indicator that you see is the futures end of day levels coming from the futures option chain. Again, JAX5 was the top. We went all the way down. This is what we call pinning effect. So you see that the price kind of stores around this core resistance 0 Ds, then we break down and we kind of chop around this area. But again, how can I use then additional data to my advantage? So let's add our intraday indicator, right? So again, now what we see here is that the put support HVL 0 Ds coming from QQQ actually was the perfect bottom for the day. So we were actually touched this level, went all the way up. So what can I do? And again, a lot of users ask, there's too many levels. How can I use them in conjunction, and what should I use best? So let's actually do this pretty quickly. So we have our intraday levels here. So we can actually, all right, we can actually draw some of our areas here. So we have our 1 day minimum from QQQ. We have our core resistance coming from QQQ. And now we can simply add those levels. We now have our end of day. We have our areas. We know something could happen. This could be a reaction around here. We also have a lower barrier right there. And then if you want to add back the levels, you can always do that. And if you just want to have the intraday, you can also use that as well. So again, reaction coming from also JAX3 QQQ, all the way down to put support coming from QQQ, together with the end of day futures level. This could have been a very, very strong roadmap for the day. We can do the same for ES. So again, this was the futures level, end of day. Now let's go into the intraday and let's add our SPX level to ES. So again, we know that we have a very important area here. We know that we have a very important area here. We know that we have a very important area here. And then, of course, coming from SPX, we know that the core resistance is also very important. So if we now hide those levels, we add those back. Now we have a confluence area. We have obviously the level from ES has been touched, but we also know that this area is very important because it's coming from the intraday move of SPX plotted now on ES. So again, you can really, in a few moments, you can actually add a lot of confluence. That's a great question. Can you show us how we may convert from Max 7 to NQ? That's an amazing question. So let's go back and let's say that we want to use our intraday. Let's go to NQ. Let's remove this area. Let's open our intraday data. And now when we go into the conversion settings, what we simply need to change is the ticker. So let's say that we want to convert NVIDIA levels to NQ. We can simply do that. And now we have basically our NVIDIA levels right here. But let's say that we wanted to do other conversions. So let's say that we want to convert, for example, intraday IWM levels, which is the Russell, onto RTY. Simply tick the box, select the ratio there, and then we can go on to RTY. And then now you also have our intraday gamma levels coming from IWM. So again, very, very strong reaction. You see that we touched the 1-day minimum on IWM, and then this cause like a bounce to the upside. So in a very, very few seconds, few moments a day, you can actually get really active, can prepare your setup. And again, this is very, very important.